Conspiracy theories are all fun to listen to until someone confirms them as real, and it gets more intriguing and brow-raising when that someone turns out to be the United States government. Of course, a lot of you don't trust the government, and at this point it's safe to say that you are no longer shocked by these revelations. However, the ones that I got on these videos might be things you haven't heard of yet. Believe me or not, some of these stories are truly worth digging into. So let's start, shall we? Number 1. Pentagon has a UFO program. The Pentagon has its eyes on UFOs and reverse engineering supposed alien crafts. There's no doubt about that. For those who don't know, the Pentagon has secretly institutionalized the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. This covert operation is banked on investigating reports and sightings of unidentified flying objects. The Department of Defense didn't acknowledge the said program formally, but ironically the agency claimed that it had ceased funding for the said program in 2012. On July 15, 2022, the Pentagon announced to the public the creation of an all-domain anomaly resolution office, which should serve as a transparent means of collecting and analyzing reports of UAP, or unidentified anomalous phenomena. As of now, the Pentagon is firm that it didn't discover any solid evidence that would verify alien existence or technology in our world. But at the same time, it did say that some of the reports are too enigmatic to resolve, including those sightings presented in the recent U.S. congressional hearing. So, what's your take on this? Number 2. Government-funded secret iPod. Most of us are hooked on Apple's tech products. From iPhones to Mac computers, all of them have dominated the electronic consumer market. But what many don't know is that Apple and the U.S. government have a secret program to develop a special iPod. David Shayer, a former Apple software engineer, confirmed that Apple and the Department of Energy worked on a special iPod way back in 2005. This particular iPod doesn't only play music, but also works as a Geiger counter. A Geiger counter, by the way, is a device that can track radiation levels in the surroundings. Here's what Shayer said.
You could walk around a city, casually listening to your tunes, while recording evidence of radioactivity, scanning for smuggled or stolen uranium, for instance, or evidence of a dirty bomb development program, with no chance that the press or public would get wind of what was happening.
Number 3. The FBI is onto Bigfoot. This one is probably the most interesting entry here. You see, the FBI doesn't just deal with normal day-to-day cases related to crimes, domestic and international terrorism, cybercrime, and foreign counterintelligence. Apparently, this particular agency of the United States government is also tracking mythical beings and urban folklores like the Bigfoot. Specifically, you can find the FBI's complete files of the Bigfoot or Sasquatch, regardless of how you want to call it, in its Freedom Information Library. What is so notable about these files is that they aren't being released if the subject involved is still alive. This means two things. First, the FBI believes that Bigfoot is real, and second, and most intriguing, they believe that it is already dead. So what do you think about this? Number 4. Hidden maps on playing cards. It was during the Second World War when a lot of crazy and mysterious things took place. From ghost military ships to unknown encounters, these stories are all prevalent during that said period. But did you know that one of the most bizarre things that occurred in World War II involved playing cards? Here's the story. The United States and Britain successfully snuck escape maps to Allied prisoners via playing cards. These maps were integrated between the layers of cards. The escape routes were so detailed that many prisoners of war made successful escapes. But how did these cards get in the first place? Well, the Geneva Convention indicated that Christmas card packages are allowed to be delivered to prisoners of war, effectively bypassing the strict security of German prison camps. Number 5. Those Navy UFO videos are not supposed to be released. The recent U.S. congressional hearing about UFOs showcased at least 3 videos published by the United States Navy that document alleged UFO activities or presence in our world. However, it was later found out that these videos weren't supposed to be leaked in the first place. Aside from the Navy's confession that these videos were taken by their pilots, the agency also indicated that these footage involving mysterious aerial phenomena were not meant for the public eye. This fact proves that the government is actively suppressing information about these unexplained objects roving our skies. So if one day you see something hovering above you, keep in mind that you are not the one who saw it first. And here's the question I really want to ask. Were those videos edited already? Because speculation suggests that parts where the UFO performed impossible maneuvers were deliberately removed. Number 6. The CIA has created a robot Dragonfly. Sci-fi and spy movies have shown us seemingly technologically impossible gadgets. At first, we thought that these devices would remain on the screen, but apparently, our government doesn't want to keep it that way. Hence, many were really surprised when, in the 1970s, the Central Intelligence Agency released never-before-seen devices in the CIA Museum in Washington, D.C. Among those inventions was a drone-like dragonfly that the CIA called the Insectothopter. Essentially, the Insectothopter was a small, unmanned aerial device that was hand-painted to look like a dragonfly. It got a miniature fluidic oscillator that enabled it to propel its wings. There was also a propellant that produced gas to power the oscillator, and an additional thrust came from the excess gas on its rear. Apparently, the CIA had abandoned its development when it discovered that the device was difficult to operate in crosswinds. But do you really believe that? Number 7. A robot catfish by CIA. The CIA didn't stop with dragonflies. The agency was able to develop a top-secret robot catfish with a seemingly harmless name of Charlie. This mechanized catfish was developed in the 90s, years after the Insectothopter. The design of this device was actually a submarine. CIA wanted to know whether or not it is possible to construct an uncrewed underwater vehicle, or UUV. Once submerged, the robot catfish had to collect water samples while avoiding detection. However, there were no records of whether these experiments yielded successful results. I am not sure if this project was halted by the CIA already. However, there's a possibility that the catfish was scrapped. After all, its operation isn't that ideal for espionage, as it requires its controller to be within the proximity. But then again, who knows? Number 8. The CIA considered using lightning for assassination. In the late 1960s, there was an unnamed scientist who proposed to the CIA to consider weaponizing lightning. The idea behind this is that lightning strikes are perfect weapons for assassination, as they wouldn't leave trails that would link back to the agency or the United States as the perpetrators. This particular pitch was found by Forbes on the declassified files by the CIA. This weather manipulation tech is supposed to involve thin metal wires, causing discharges to occur when the CIA wants them to. The wires would then unfurl from rockets or aircraft launched into the atmosphere. After a lightning event, the intention was for the metal wire to attract the lightning and direct it toward the ground at the wire's endpoint. The concept behind this was that the wire would be in proximity to inflict lethal electric shocks of 300 million volts on the target chosen by the CIA for assassination. Number 9. Lost plutonium in the Himalayas. In the 1960s, the United States and India collaborated on a shared mission with the aim of overseeing China's nuclear advancements. Their objective was to deploy sensors powered by the radioactive isotope plutonium-238. Unfortunately, due to perilous conditions, the team had to evacuate the Himalayas before they could finish the installation. Upon their return a year later, the sensors were nowhere to be found. The plutonium devices remain unaccounted for, but local beliefs suggest that they may still be active in the region and could be linked to the melting of mountain glaciers, leading to devastating floods. Scientists indicated that the flooding was caused by fallen glaciers that dammed a mountain stream. Over time, these glaciers broke, effectively sending water surges downstream. However, many villagers in the area still believe that it was the lost plutonium that caused the melting of snow and ice. Number 10. The U.S. Navy encountered a mysterious dark mass. Former Navy Commander David Fravor recounted a truly unsettling incident. Back in the 1990s, he was assigned to recover BQM aerial target drones and submarine telemetry torpedoes from the ocean. A helicopter pilot had a similar mission. While attempting to secure the torpedo, both men observed an enormous, circular dark mass descending toward the water's surface. Remarkably, both are adamant that this object was not a submarine. In the helicopter pilot's case, the enigmatic entity inexplicably absorbed the torpedo, leaving it forever beyond retrieval. Here's the account of Favor.
He's out picking up a torpedo. They hook the diver up on the winch, and as they're lowering him down, he sees this big mass. He goes, "It's not a submarine." He's seen submarines before. Once you've seen a submarine, You can't confuse it with something else. This big object, kind of circular, is coming up from the depths, and he starts screaming through the intercom system to tell them to pull the diver up, and the diver's only a few feet from the water. They reverse the winch, and the diver's thinking, "What the hell is going on?" And all of a sudden, he said the torpedo just got sucked down underwater, and the object just descended back down into the depths. They never recovered it.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please subscribe to Beyond Life. I know doing these things is a chore, but with those little clicks, you can help our channel grow and allow us to produce more value-oriented content just like this. That's it for now. Stay safe and see you in the next one.